This time I would like to ask Tommy Yankee, our Extension Agent for Agriculture, please come forward and give the invocation.
I want to offer just a quick challenge to the students before we have our blessing and invocation for tonight. Most of us can remember little of what our teachers said, but much of what they stood for. Little of their lessons and lectures, but much of their love and encouragement. And I know that's so true with the two young instructors that we have here tonight, Mr. Price and Mr. Ware. We're fortunate that we have caring teachers, and parents, you need to compliment them from time to time for their efforts as they work with their students. True success is overcoming the fear of being unsuccessful. And I want to present just a challenge real quick for the students. Share examples of some of society's people that at one time were thought to be unsuccessful, but we think, looking back, that they were extremely successful. When Lucille Ball began studying to be an actress in 1927, she was told by the head instructor of the John Murray Anderson Drama School, try any other profession, any other. In 1954, Jimmy Denny, manager of the Grand Ole Opry, fired Elvis Presley after one performance. He told Presley, "You ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck." When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, he tried more than 2,000 experiments before he got it to work. A young reporter asked him how it felt to fail so many times. Edison said, "I never failed. I invented the light bulb. It just happened to be a 2,000-step process." When the great cellist Ffa Casales reached 95, a young reporter threw him the following question. "Mr. Casales, you are 95 and the greatest cellist that ever lived. Why do you still practice 6 hours a day?" Mr. Casales answered, "Because I think I am making progress." Louie Lamore, the great Western writer, author of more than 100 Western novels with more than 200 million copies in print, received 350 rejections before he made his first sale. So I want to encourage you students as you attend classes here at the high school, and as some of you will be graduating this time, reach for those goals and dreams that you have, because anything's obtainable if you have the desire and perseverance to stay with it. And again, to Mr. Ware and Mr. Price, I thank you for your dedication, for the commitment that you have to the students. If you would now, please bow with me as we go to the Lord in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for another beautiful day that you have given us. Lord, thank you for each family that's represented here tonight. Lord, for these young adults that we're here to honor, for the recognitions and accomplishments that they have achieved this past year, we thank you for them and for what they are doing, Lord. Lord, they're going to be the future leaders of our county and our state, and we just pray that as adults we could guide them in ways that would be pleasing unto you. Lord, I thank you for loving us and for the many blessings that you give us each and every day. Lord, I ask now that you will bless the food that we're about to eat and that you'll use it for the nourishment of our bodies. Be with us through the remainder of this ceremony tonight, for it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Our newly elected Sentinel, Timmy Spears, will be coming around telling everyone when to eat. We're getting ready to start with our meeting. Just wait for him to tell you.
I shall call the roll of officers, determine and direct their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Station by the door.
Your duties, sir.
Through this door, past many friends in every space. It is my duty to sit the doors open to our friends at all times, and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room paraphernalia. I strive to keep the meeting room comfortable and assist the president in maintaining order.
The reporter.
Station by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to perform that every man, woman, and child knows the FFA's national organization. There is from the state of Maine, there is from the state of Alaska, Puerto Rico, from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
Treasurer.
Station by the Emma Washington.
Your duties, sir.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm account, carefully and accurately. I encourage strict among the members to strive to have a fine standing through savings and investments. George Washington was there to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties, sir.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and writing with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duty requires me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over the meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stable?
The rising sun is a token of new era in agriculture. We will follow the leadership of our president. We shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at your station.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
We have 43 members, 123 guests, and 2 advisors present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. FFA members, why are we here? Practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. Now declare this meeting of the Casey County FFA chapter duly open to the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Mr. Secretary, this is the first item of business.
Welcome, my President, Justin Wilson.
On behalf of myself, my advisors, Mr. Ware, Mr. Price, my fellow officers, and our members of our chapter, I'd like to welcome everyone. We appreciate your attendance. This is the highlight of our year, and it really means a whole lot to us to see everybody here. We hope you enjoy the banquet, have a good time, and we really appreciate your coming. And at this time, I'd ask Mr. Price to come forward and introduce the guests.
Thank you, Chessman. Opening ceremonies really sounded good. And I think there's some people that are not comfortable. If you want to turn your chair a little bit, I got a lot of people sitting on the side of the chair. Feel free to do that right now. Now, I know that's better. We want you, as Cheston said, to enjoy yourself while you're here. We're glad you're here. And to start with, we enjoyed a fine meal, and I want to give some thanks and credit to the people that helped us with that meal. It never does fail if we ask the pork producers to help us. They come through. I counted 12 of them that were here at 4:30 this afternoon preparing that meal for us. And I'd like for you to help me show them a thank you for a delicious meal. If you ever get a chance, stop by the pork producers booth, put in a little plug for them, buy some pork producer pork chops, pork burgers. They support FFA, as you're going to hear Mr. Ware say later. We had 3 ladies in the kitchen that was helping us serve, and Lena, would you ask them to come out, please? You know, it takes a lot of people to put on a banquet like this, and Mr. Wire and I, we're constantly asking people to help us. We asked Ms. Henson to help us with the decorations again this year, and she helped us with those, and we appreciate that. And a lot of FFA members were here today helping with decorations. We had a lot of competition today. There's been a lot of competition all year through our FFA chapter, but we had a lot of competition today. You know, we got a prom tomorrow night. A lot of people didn't want to be at school today because of something they call a day off or a skip day or something. But that was competition because we need a lot of help. And we've got a lot of dedicated FFA members that stayed with us today and helped us. Thank you, ladies, for helping serve. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm here to introduce some guests, but before I do, I'd just like to say to you FFA members that I'm very proud of you and the accomplishments that you've had this year. Many of you are going to be receiving some awards tonight. Some of you will not. And I'd just like to think back a year ago right now. Do you remember a year ago right now what our ag department looked like? It was demolished. I was beginning to wonder if we would even have an FFA banquet a year from now. And we went through the summer, and luckily we got the help of Mr. Emerson and Mr. Sugars, and they took us in at the vocational school. We had a good fall over there. We got some Peter-Lochner contests. We kept our fruit sales going. Then we got back here in January, and people, you got to admit, let's think about the environment that we're setting in here tonight. And FFA members, if you want to, after the awards banquet, take your guests downstairs and walk them through the ag department. We're really proud of it. It's first class, and the environment you see here tonight, you know, our room is much different than it was last year. The outside of our building is much different. It's a lot nicer, and I have to say, our students deserve it. And I want to say that from the bottom of my heart. And I know there's students out there that graduated, and they say, yeah, the year after I graduate, that's when they do that. But still, Chad, you've got to admit, we're really proud of our new facilities and all. And let me get into our guest list. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's start at the head table. We have with us a state FFA officer tonight that will be giving an address later, Michael Miller. Let's just stand up momentarily, and if you would, hold your applause until I get finished. Okay, thank you, Mike. We have Mr. Wendell Emerson, Superintendent of Casey County Schools. You're welcome. Tommy Yankee, who you heard earlier, Extension Agent for Agriculture. Mr. Harvey Luckle, representing Farm Credit Services. We always welcome you. Mr. Donald Cravens, our principal at Casey County High School. We have several teachers here with us tonight. Mr. Smithers, Vocational School. Ms. Tucker. Mr. Whitus. I was going to try to embarrass him tonight, but I don't know. He's pretty hard to embarrass. You guys remember when we go to FFA camp what Dr. Pete always says on about Wednesday or Thursday when the mail comes to camp? Remember? Wouldn't embarrass him for the world, you know, when those letters come in from the girlfriends and he starts smelling of them and all that perfume and all that. Happy birthday, Mr. Whitus. Mr. Sugars, Principal of Casey County Vocational School, we welcome you. Mr. Stanford, Vice Principal here at the high school. Ms. King, our school secretary. Dear friend of mine, Mr. Murphy. Melina Strevel, representing Casey County News. At this time, our special guest, all of our parents and friends of FFA members, and FFA members, let's show them how much we appreciate them being here tonight. So please stand up just for a moment, parents. Let's give them a round of applause, FFA members. We have some strong supporters of FFA with us that I want to mention at this time. All former FFA officers, please stand up. Former, there's one, we forgot that one. We forgot this one up here. I think we got Mr. Smithers and Kevin and Jerry, Chad, and Chris, and Brian. So we appreciate you all being here with us. At this time, Mr. Craig, you supported us tremendously throughout the year. Would you come forward and give some comments, please?
They always ask if I have anything to say. Someday they'll learn not to ask that because I always have something to say. But it's easy tonight to come up here and talk positively about our FFA program. I've been in education for this is 14 years now, been in 3 different counties, 6 different schools, 7 different times. So I consider that I've been around and seen quite a bit in education. And I will say that our FFA program will stand up and be with the best of them anywhere in the state. I'm really proud of what they do. They run a top-notch program with a top-notch product produced. They would fit anywhere in the state, as I said. I'm so thankful for our FFA sponsors, Mr. Price, Mr. Ware. They, along with Mr. Whitis down in the area below us, this new area, they do such a good job of taking care of that area that I don't go down there enough. I know they wonder if I'm at school sometimes, but things just go so smoothly down there that I don't have to go down very often. They take care of their area. They take care of any problems that might arise. But I must say that when those students are down there, they tend to act a little bit different because their attitude, the pride in themselves, and the pride in their program shows when they're down in that area. I know that a lot of you have had questions about the building, and I'm going to take just a little bit of time to talk about that. As Mr. Price said last year, the building was not here. And so we're very proud of everything that we have established here at Casey County High School. And as he said, I would also invite you to walk through the building downstairs, and also we'll open those stairs. It's not open in the office in the front if you want to go through and see any of that when the program is finished. But in closing, and I didn't want to take much time, this is the night that we are to honor all of the FFA boys and young ladies that are here. Again, I am very proud of them. I'm proud of the hard work that they put in. And I'm very proud to have our 2 sponsors that we have. They do a wonderful job. And I know that they wouldn't ask for any applause for themselves tonight, but we do owe it to them to thank them for the job that they do with our young people. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to introduce our state officer who's with us. Is it coming through? It is a nice PA system also, Mr. Murphy. So, Mike Miller is a state officer representing the Lake Cumberland region. He is from the Russell County FFA chapter, currently attending Western Kentucky University. Ran into him last night at a banquet. We gave a powerful speech there at a regional banquet. Told him what I wanted him to do tonight. He said, I'm going to be up all night tonight. I said, uh-oh. He said, I'm going to cram for 2 finals that I've got tomorrow. He said, I'm going to wrap it up tomorrow. But he looks all bright-eyed to me. I think he's going to do a fine job. Please welcome Michael Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Price. FFA members, parents, faculty, distinguished guests, on behalf of myself, my fellow state officers, and the Kentucky Association of the FFA, it brings me great pleasure to be here at Casey County High School this evening. FFA members, your advisors, and your school principals said it all earlier. Tonight you are here to be honored for the efforts and accomplishments you've earned thus far in the FFA. As Mr. Price said, some of you will walk away tonight with first place honors, and the rest of you will walk away with second best. But there's one thing to remember, that winning isn't everything, but the effort to win is. That's a familiar quote. Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker, once quoted that quote. You're not going to win all the time, FFA members. I'm living proof. I've not won every contest that I've participated in, but you
You learn from defeat, and the best things in life come from what you learn in defeat. FFA members, tonight I'm here to talk to you about yourself and the goals you establish in life. You know, goals is a big word in life, whether it involves FFA, school, your home life, or your church life. Goals is a big word, and you must live by those goals in order to succeed in life. Right now, I'd like to illustrate a story to you about an exciting game of a basketball championship. There was these two teams that wasn't very athletic at all, but they seemed to make it to the championship game of a state tournament. You could tell that the team was really excited, and the adrenaline was flowing through their veins, and they was physically ready for the game that they was about to take. The players was out on the court taking their warm-up shots, and they was just really excited. You could tell that the crowd was excited for them. The coaches called them all together. They said, let's go back to the locker room for our last speech. Coaches get them in the locker room. It says, this is it, fellas. It's now or never. We win or we lose it all here tonight. You know, nobody remembers the best man at a wedding. And nobody remembers who came in second. The whole season is tonight. You know, these players are so charged up, they nearly knocked the door off the hinges as they exit to the court. But you know what? As they get to the edge of the court, they stop in sudden haste and recognize that the goals have been removed. They angrily demand to know how they can play the game of basketball without goals. For you see, they know without the goals, they will never know the score, never know whether they hit or missed a shot, never know how they stacked up against the competition, and never know if they were on or off target. You know, FFA members, those goals are important, aren't they? What about you? FFA members, are you trying to play the game of life without goals? If you are, what's the score? By that simple illustration, you can see how important goals are in life, whatever the situation may be. In this case, it was basketball. But tonight, we're going to talk about you, FFA members, and your goals in the FFA. If you haven't started developing those goals already, you need to start tonight. I ask one thing of you before you leave this banquet hall tonight. Is somewhere in your mind, think of a goal that you want to accomplish next year, 2 years down the road, or 5 years down the road. Think of a goal you want to accomplish, and I want you to keep trying and striving to reach this goal. You know, there's one thing you must remember, though. Sometimes goals are going to seem so far-fetched and unreachable that you're going to want to quit. But you know, FFA members, you can't quit. Because you see, you know, goals, you can reach them in days, weeks, months, or even years. But the goals are still there. And sometimes they're going to be up in the clouds where you can't see them, but that's the time when you reach up to pull your goals down to reality. You know what, FFA members, when I sit in my room at home at night and I start thinking about things that I want to do, try to think of things that I want to accomplish, I pick up this basketball. You see, this basketball is not perfect. You may think it's perfect by its round shape, but it's not perfect. See, you see this basketball has dents, curves in it, just like that of life. Life is going to have its bumps and turns and twists. And that's right, FFA members. Your life is going to have these bumps and ups and downs. But you must remember to keep on trying. You know, as I sit in my room, I'll take this ball and bounce it down, and I'll notice when I bounce it down, it always seems to come back up. That's what you need to do, FFA members. When you compete in a contest and don't get first place, remember, you need to bounce right back up from your defeats. You see, it's important, and the ball illustrates it. every time you try something, even though you may not win that thing, it's going to bounce back up right into your hand. And that's when you keep on striving to accomplish those goals. You know, there's one sad thing I see as I go on throughout life every day, as I travel around to different schools, that is many people get that of activity and their goal setting mixed up with accomplishment. I'd like to illustrate to you a little story was conducted recently with 7 caterpillars. The scientists had taken 7 caterpillars, arranged them in a circle, and placed them so carefully that the front of the caterpillar's head was touching that of the last one. In the center of these caterpillars, he placed a flower pot, a circular flower pot. In the middle of this I'm getting mixed up here. In the middle of this flower pot, he placed pine needles. You know, pine needles is the primary food of caterpillars. These caterpillars started their journey around this flower pot. Around and around they went, hour after hour, day after day, night after night. For 7 full days and 7 full nights, these caterpillars made their way around this circular flower pot. But suddenly they dropped dead of starvation. With the abundance of food nearly 6 inches away, they confused activity with accomplishment. So FFA members, what are you going to do? Are you going to confuse activity with accomplishment just when something lies within 6 inches of your reach? See, a lot of people make the same mistake today in life. And as a fraction, they only reap a small harvest of what life has to offer. See, people want to follow in the footsteps of others. Don't get me wrong. That is great that you want to follow in the footsteps of someone else. That shows that you show such self-respect and esteem for that person that you want to be just like them. But FFA members, you need to start your new path to stardom. Don't be like those caterpillars and be in a circle to nowhere. Step out and reach for your new goals. You know, Zig Ziglar once said, go as far as you can see. And once you get there, you'll be able to see even farther. FFA members, that's why you are an FFA member. You joined this club, this great organization, the largest national organization in the world, to go as far as you can see. And that's what I challenge you tonight, is to go that extra mile and give that extra push and go as far as you can see. And once you get there, I promise you, you'll be able to see even farther. Once again, thanks for having me here tonight. This was a great meal, and it's just so great to see the parents that come to such things as this. You know, FFA members, your parents mean a lot, and they mean a lot to the FFA. Parents, as I close off tonight, I want to do something different. I want to honor you all, because without your self-encouragement and motivation to these FFA members, they wouldn't be sitting here tonight. So members, let me hear what you feel for your parents right now. Remember, FFA members, you are an FFA member. And as the salute you say at the beginning of the opening ceremonies, to practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, develop those leadership qualities which an FFA member should possess. That's what you are, FFA members. Live by that statement, you will succeed in life. Once again, thank you and God bless.
We really appreciate your coming. You did a tremendous job, and on behalf of the Gates County FFA, I'd like to present to you this small token of our appreciation.
I forgot something a while ago. You were talking about parents. Mr. Ware and I, our mothers are here, and I forgot to introduce you as guests, and I always do that, Mom. And I always think of little stories Mr. Murphy's always a good storyteller. We was going through an FFA banquet here one night. The FFA member was giving his retiring address, and he was thanking his teachers and his fellow FFA members and all, and he got to his parents, and he said to his mother, he said, "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here." So that kind of thrilled the group. Our wives also, Carol and Lisa, we appreciate you. And also, Mike, your parents, would you please stand? We appreciate you all coming up and being with us also. Let's give them a round of applause.
Mr. Secretary, what is the next item of business?
Awards presentation.
Will Jimmy Wilson please come forward and give out the speaking award? One, with many valuable skills that keep them developed while in FFA, public speaking. It will provide experience to help you throughout life. In order to become a good speaker, you must learn to be a good listener. Always be prepared to say your speech. There are two types of speech we do in FFA: impromptu and extemporary. First, I'll give out the impromptu speaking awards. First is course speaking, Jane Burton. He or she was superior in the region. Next, fruit and vegetable goes to Kevin Pittman. Pete goes to Chesson Wilson. He or she is superior in the region also. Crops goes to Matt Helm. Swine goes to Kyle Coffey. Dairy goes to Kenny Spears. Greenhouse and floral goes to Andy Dean. Sheep goes to Josh Wagner. Small animal, Janetta Foster. Turf and lawn goes to Derek Ponder. He received a superior also at the region. Extemporary third speaking goes to Tasha Dunham. Southern speaking goes to Amanda Price. She received a superior first when won the region. She will be competing at the state level. And last, our creed speaker, Andrew Barton. Now he will present the creed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the FFA Creed. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists, and the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us in the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm, or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits, is pleasant as well as challenging. But I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life, and hope an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly, with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself.
and less need for charity, and more of it when needed, and being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best positions of our national life, and that I can contribute influence in my home and community will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
This time with Byron Kaufman, please come forward and write the record keeping awards.
Each year, our chapter gives out awards to the FFA students who keep outstanding records throughout the school year. These records are graded on accuracy and neatness by our advisors. The awards will be given to the students from all classes, ranging from freshmen to senior. The awards are also presented to the first-year agriculture students who are on the record-keeping team. For the freshman, Adam Hines. For the sophomores, Chad Elmore. For the juniors, Derek Ponder. And finally, for the seniors, Stephen Kidd. Now for the record-keeping team, Jeremy Stevens, Becky Murphy, Daniel Bryant, and Adam Hines. At this time, would Brian Legault please come up for the presentation of the Leadership and Scholarship Awards.
Before I get out these awards, I'd like to say a few words. It's been a great 4 years in FFA. Wish I'd have got involved earlier, but I didn't. I encourage all you underclassmen to get involved in all the activities that FFA has to offer. And I'd like to wish good luck to the new officer team in the upcoming year. Well, first, I'll be giving out the Leadership Award. The Leadership Award each year is awarded to a student in each class which shows outstanding leadership ability. This year's Leadership Awards go to freshman Jason Webb. Sophomore Amanda Price. Junior Josh Wade. And senior Justin Wilson. Next is the Scholarship Award. Scholarship Award is presented each year to an FFA member in each class who is the best overall grades. This year's scholarships go to freshman Adam Hines. Sophomore Natasha Dillon. Junior Derek Ponder. And senior Justin Wilson. Now would Amanda Price come forward to give the Treasurer's Book, Secretary Book, and Seat ID Award?
Each year we have a Secretary's Book and a Treasurer's Book. They are both entered at state level. This year both books received a superior rating. The Secretary's Book helps give the chapter rating for that year. However, our chapter received a gold rating, which only 1 in 48 chapters received. And tonight, the Secretary's Book Award goes to Jamie Burton, our 1995-96 Secretary. The Treasurer's Book Award goes to Josh Weddington, our 1995-96 Treasurer. We also have a seat ID person who is picked from our freshman class each year. This person identifies seats and seat tags. This year's seat ID person award goes to Jimmy Wilson. At this time, we're very keen to come forward and give the livestock and dairy judging team.
Before I give out the livestock and dairy judging teams, I'd like to present to you my retiring address. It all started a long time ago when I was in elementary school. I'd ride over on the school bus from there to here at the high school to wait for Mom to take us home. To pass the time, I would go out into the hall across from the office and look at the trophy case and admire all the awards. The FFA trophies caught my eye. I was in farming and it turned me on, so I always wished that those trophies could be hanging on my wall. As the years rolled by, my second oldest brother Brian became an active member in the FFA. I then learned more about the FFA and how much fun it was. As my 8th grade year was coming to an end and time to register for my freshman classes, I made it a top priority that I take agriculture classes. And I've been in the FFA for 4 years. I've been in high school. It has opened many doors and opportunities, and it's taught me skills I thought I never would be able to possess. I also like to take this time to thank my parents and the rest of my family for all the encouragement and support they have given me throughout my FFA career, and I'd like to make a special thanks to my advisors for putting the extra effort in me to make me what I am today. Thank you. Each year, the sophomore classes participates in the livestock and dairy judging teams, and they participate at the Gateway Clinic, and they compete at the Eastern Kentucky University Field Days, and they compete at the Kentucky State Fair this year. So call your names, please come up to get your award. The livestock team consists of Nicholas Lynn, Chris Coleman, Matt Helm, and Derek Bonder. For the dairy judging team, consists of Brian Martin, Josh Weddington, Jason Lawrence, and Lucas Simpson. And now Derek Ponder would come up to give out the Wellman Shop Award.
Welding is something that we see around us all the time today. We see this in tall skyscrapers to the cars that we drove here tonight. The students in the junior agriculture class are taught the basic steps in arc welding. The four that excel in these areas are chosen to be on the welding team. And when they competed in regional competition this year, they placed third. These members are Brian Martin, Nicholas Lynn, Eric Miller, and Jason Lawrence. Besides welding, Casey County agriculture students also learn basic shop skills. These include carpentry, welding, and many other skills. And then they put these skills to use by building shop right, such as mirror feeders. And the shop award is awarded to those who excel in these areas. The freshman shop award goes to Larry Pittman. The
sophomore shop award goes to Chad Edwards. The junior award goes to Carl Gary. And the senior shop award goes to Bill Johnson. Will Josh Weatherking please come forward and now present the Soul Judging Awards?
Each year at the junior class, we choose a soil judging team. This year's team consists of Nick Lynn, Brian Martin, and Doug Johnson, and Quincy Emerson. We usually study about 6 weeks on soils. We learn a lot about these. We learn the color, what consists of the coloring things, depth, slope. At this time, these members come forward to receive the awards.
At this time, the Timmy Spears, please come forward and give out the chapter meeting team award.
Each year, our chapter meeting team, which is made up of 6 officers and 4 members, uses parliamentary procedure on the regional level. This year's team rated superior on the regional level. The team members are Justin Wilson, Barry King, Jamie Burton, Reggie Tiffin, Brian McGall, Josh Whittington, Andy Dean, Byron Kaufman, Jimmy Wilson, and Dave Wesley. This time, Dave Wesley come and give out the Farm Achievement and Tractor Driver Awards.
At this time, I'd like to take a few minutes to thank the people. First of all, I'd like to thank my mother for standing behind me for 4 years at high school. Standing behind me with any activity I've done. I'd like to thank Mr. Wire and Mr. Price for being there behind me all 4 years. Mr. Price and Mr. Wire encouraged me going to college. And most everybody knows when you lose freshman, Mr. Wire was what you call a freshman. And we all 4, the senior class, Mr. Wire did some growing up in the next 4 years. First of all, will be the Farm Achievement Award. The Farm Achievement Award each year are given to those FFA members which keep excellent records on the SAE projects. Those members receiving awards are Fruit and Vegetable Production, Ken Pittman. Horse Proficiency, Jamie Burton. Beef Production, Justin Wilson. All 3 of these are original winners. Next one will be Tractor Driving. The tractor driver award is received by the FFA member who competes in the state tractor driving contest at the FFA camp each year. The tractor driver award goes to Kyle Collins. At this time, would any team come up and give out the bike grading, the bike stripping team award, the archery award, and auctioneer?
This year in December, members of the senior class tobacco field day in Classic County. Those contests entered were tobacco grading. One of those contests winners was tobacco grading. This award was presented to Jamie Burton. The tobacco stripping team was judged on speed, correctness, and cleanup. The tobacco stripping team was first in the region. Team members were Cheston Wilson, Larry King, Billy Johnson, and Matt Evans. Tobacco auctioneering award goes to Kevin Pittman, who was the regional winner and will defeat the state fair nominee. This year, our chapter competed in an archery contest in Flagstaff. This is a new activity for FFA members that was greatly enjoyed by the members. FFA members competing in the archery competition was Cheston Wilson, Eric Denson, Ryan Dunn, Chris Atwood, Eric Hamilton, Jody Smith, and Dennis Brown. This time, Natasha Dunn is doing
Before I give out this award tonight, I'd just like to take a moment to thank all my family for being here tonight. My dad had to rush home from Florida today just to be here. I hope he didn't drive too fast, but as long as he made it, I guess it's okay. So, thank you. Each year, one FFA member from the freshman class is selected as the Star Green Hand. This award is presented to the person who's most active in the chapter and has demonstrated leadership abilities. I received this honor last year, and I believe it's a successful start to an FFA career. This year, I'm pleased to present this award to Adam Hines. Congratulations, Adam. This time, I'll ask Jamie Burton to come forward to recognize our chapter sweetheart.
Each year, our chapter, at one of our regular meetings, which is the April meeting, we take an election of names, actually it's a poll of names, and elect a young lady from the FBLA club to represent our chapter as the chapter sweetheart. This year, we have chosen Amanda Price. This time I'd like for our president, Cheston Wilson, to come and introduce the next speaker.
It's my privilege tonight to introduce a man who's an outstanding friend of the FFA, fellow farmer, and just a real good guy. This time I'd like to ask Mr. Harvey Lucky, representing Farm Credit Service, to come forward and give out his awards.
Thank you, Cheston. I'll tell you, that's as good an introduction I ever got. Real good guy. I like him. He did. We've heard a lot of good speeches on people getting awards and everything, and start off I'm a little short here. All right. Mr. Yankee talking about being, really being successful. successful, you got to do a lot of practicing. And, but I always heard behind every successful man stands a surprised mother-in-law. You ever heard that? Thought it was going to say a surprise lady, right? Or whatever, but it's a surprise mother-in-law. Okay, let me get into what I'm supposed to be doing up here tonight, and that's giving out the Chapter Star Farmer Award and the Star Agribusinessman Award. So for the Chapter Star Farmer Award, that goes to Cheston Wilson. Cheston, stand up here and let me tell a little bit about what these cards tells me here. It says this project has grown from 2 beef calves and a half acre of sweet corn to 10 head of cattle, 2 acres of sweet corn, and an acre of tobacco. And he served as vice president and president of the local chapter, as well as regional secretary. He attended state and national FFA convention, and he received the chapter leadership award on 3 different times. So it's a pleasure on behalf of Farm Credit Services to present you this award. I guess I should mention Farm Credit Services doesn't have anything to do with selecting these. These award winners are selected by their own advisors and fellow FFA members. So I'm just here to present them tonight. So and it's a pleasure to do that. So for the Star Agribusinessman Award, this goes to Barry King. Barry has a mowing service, which includes mowing neighbors' yards and Brush Creek Cemetery for the past 5 years. And I understand he took over from his brother in 1994. He took over this business. He's raised tobacco, and he served as treasurer and as vice president. So congratulations. Okay, Mr. Price and Mr. Ware, they asked me to come, said if I had anything that's a little humorous to share it with you, and I couldn't think of a thing. So I asked their wives if they had anything that was humorous on these individuals. And by the way, you talk about stress and so forth. Did you see these 2 beautiful young ladies sitting over here? I don't believe anybody's introduced them yet. The little twin girls. They're just beautiful over there. And I asked Mr. Ware, about what they do or what Mr. Ware does for all the stress in their life, But of course, she kind of looked at those 2 little girls, that takes a lot of it out. But she handed me a piece of paper, had a whole list of stuff here that Mr. Ware does to relieve some stress. I just want to share a few of them with you. I'll not share all of them. And says he jams a miniature marshmallows up his nose and sneezes them out. I mean, that's stress relief. Y'all might try this sometime. Said he uses his MasterCard to pay his Visa bill with. And he pops popcorn without putting the lid on the popper. Says he puts his toddler's clothes on backwards and sends his wife out to go shopping with him. Then there's some other things here. He kind of tattoos out the lunch across his forehead every once in a while. What that does to relieve stress. Said he pays his electric bill in pennies. And he drives to work in reverse. Y'all ever see him come in here in the parking lot driving backwards? He's relieving the stress, what he's doing when he does that. So he stares at people through a lens on a fork and pretends that they're in jail. So that's just a few of them. I mean, there's a whole list of things here. I couldn't believe he does all this stuff to relieve stress. Mr. Price a while ago had everybody get up and turn around for some seats. That's one way to relieve stress. If you all a little stressful, you can do that. So I asked Miss Price, well, she had anything to share on Mr. Price. And she gave me a piece of paper also. I don't know what this has to do with what he's done. But anyway, just some things on here. She jotted these questions down, and this is what she had the answer for it, because he didn't know the answer to them. Said, why are all dumb blonde jokes one-liners? And her answer was, so men like you can understand them. Said, what's the difference between government bonds and men? And she said, well, government bonds are material. Said, what's a man's idea of helping with a housework? And that's lifting his legs so she can vacuum under them. Said, what did God say after he created man? He said, I'd do a better job than this, so he created a woman. And I said, another here says, what's the best way to force a man to stand up? He said, that's to put his TV remote control between his toes. It's what does a man consider to be a 7-course meal? And that was a hot dog and a 6-pack of Pepsi, she said. So that's just the things they just have to share with us here on each other. Of course, see Mr. Murphy sitting back there. You know, he'd always, you know, he was my ag teacher when I was in school. Taught me everything I know. I mean, everything that I know today just got started with Mr. Murphy. But starting with Mr. Price, I mean, at least I did learn how to tell the difference between a steer and a heifer. It seems like he has a lot of trouble. I don't know. Mr. Price, can you share anything on that man? Get that through. But I don't know what the story is behind that, but he just has trouble with that. I don't know what it is. But he did, Mr. Murphy always taught us to be conservative, you know. To be real conservative in everything we did, and that we get by life pretty good. I was talking to his brother. He's got a brother named Marion. Most of you know him. You know, he was telling me about one of the stories that I guess what led him to teach people about being conservative. He said one day he missed John Burrow and said he was out hunting for him. Said he thought he heard him cry, you know. He went by the chicken house, where they had this chicken house, had a bunch of chickens in it, and he went by the chicken house and he could hear that cries coming from that chicken house. So he went in there, sure enough, John Burrow was down on his knees there in that chicken house. There's chickens all over the place around him there, you know. He asked him, well, John Burrow, what in the world's wrong with you? He said, well, he said, I dropped my chewing gum in here, and I thought I found it 3 different times. Oh, but I've got one more here. This Jerry Lynn sat back there. Most of you know Jerry. He's a farmer, you know. Jerry walks with a little limp, you know. Everybody knows that a little bit. We sitting over here talking, asking about it. Just, you know, what happened to Jerry? You know, what caused that? So I just went back there and asked Jerry what was it making him walk with this little bit of limp, you know. So he told me. He said he bought this mule. Bought this mule off of a preacher. Now turn around for me. Oh, which one of the preachers it was? One of the preachers out there around River, he bought a mule from. He said the preacher told him, said, now, all you got to do is make this mule, when you get on him, you want him to go. Said, you just say, bless you. So Jerry paid him for the mule. He got on, he took off toward home, and he said, bless you. And that mule, you know, he went on, and a little bit, he said, bless you again. That mule went just a little bit faster. Then he got to feeling pretty good, and he said, bless you, and that mule just got to run as hard as he could, you know. Kind of run off with him. And he run right over this big bluff back there somewhere or another, this big old bluff, and Jerry seen him coming, he didn't know. The preacher had told him, said, now, if you want him to stop, said, you say hallelujah. But Jerry forgot what he said. And he was going right toward that bluff, you know, and he done said bless you another time or two, but he kept trying to think of the other word. Just as they got right there at the edge of that cliff, it come to him, and he said, hallelujah, and that mule stopped. Jerry was so happy that he looked up and said, bless you, Lord. So you know what happened to Jerry did. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to give my retiring address. There's a couple people that I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart, and one of those people is Mr. Murphy, that Mr. Harvey Luttrell was jabbing a little bit, but Mr. Murphy's been a great inspiration to me, because when I was in 8th grade, one of my older cousins worked for him on the farm, and my 8th grade summer, Lee asked me, he said, why don't you come over and help me and Mr. Murphy working today? I said, all right. So I went over there, and ever since then, Mr. Murphy's been just encouraging me to go on in the FFA. And I'd like to thank my mom and dad, and I'd like to thank my girlfriend for being here, even though she had to drive for about 40 miles. And I'd like to thank Mr. Ware and Mr. Price, because I've not always won everything in the FFA that I've entered either. But
every time that I would get second, third, or not even place, Mr. Ware would always say there's going to be another chance. There's going to be something else that I can do. And I want to thank him for that. And I'd like to thank just the officer team because they're a great bunch of guys and we have fun together, we kid around. And I'd like to thank all y'all FFA members for voting for me to be a chapter secretary, which is one of the goals that I set when I entered the FFA, was to be an officer. Because that was something that in my family, or part of my family, that was something to look up to, was being an FFA. And I'd like to thank all y'all for being a supporter of me through these 4 years.
Thank you, James. At this time, I'd like to give my retirement address. Over the past 4 years, I've learned a whole lot from FFA. I've learned that there are many, many opportunities in field agriculture that people don't even think about. It's not just farming, or it's not just there's so many things you can do. And the FFA is just an outstanding organization. They can teach you so much leadership, so many skills that you can use throughout your life. They'll make you a better person, make you realize that you can do whatever you make yourself want to do. And there's just so many people I want to thank for that. Right here is two of the finest men that ever walked. They really helped me a lot, Mr. Martin and Mr. Price. I really appreciate it. And also I'd like to thank my parents, my grandparents, and all these members out here. It's meant a lot this year. Everybody's really worked and been involved in everything. And it's been a great year. I'd like to thank my fellow officers. They've been really great. I couldn't ask for a better bunch of guys. We've worked hard. We've had a good time. I think we've improved our chapter. Just looking out over this crowd tonight, I know we've improved our chapter. We've had a bigger attendance tonight, and I want everybody to know that I really appreciate it. It means a whole lot for us to see this big crowd out here. I mean, it's outstanding. It makes you feel real good when you've worked all year like we have and like our chapter has. See this group of people come out and show their appreciation. I really want to thank you. Now, again, I want to thank Mr. Ware and Mr. Price and my family for everything they've done. And I want to let everyone know that even though I'm not going to be a chapter officer anymore, I'm still going to be an FFA member from now on. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, what's next out of this?
The Honorary Member Ceremonies.
Tonight we're going to honor our two men that have really been outstanding friends to our FFA chapter. They've cooperated with us in every way they could. They've just been on the backers to help us, and we really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to receive honorary members into the FFA. The purpose of this ceremony is to recognize from time to time the efforts of others made in our behalf. Mr. Secretary, please read the section of the National Constitution which provides for an honorary membership.
Honorary membership, which is farmers, school superintendents, principals, members of the Board of Education, chapter advisors, teachers, staff members in education, agricultural education, business people, and others who have helped to advance the agricultural education and the FFA, and who have rendered outstanding services that are able to be elected to the honorary membership by a majority vote of any of our regular meetings or convention.
Mr. Secretary, will you introduce those who receive this honor?
Mr. President, members, and guests, I am pleased to announce that Mr. Jack Stanford, Vice President or Vice Principal of this school, Casey County High School, and Mr. John Sugars, Principal of the Casey County Area Voltech School.
Will the officers take their places beside me?
I welcome you as friends of the FFA. It's my privilege to sentinel to extend each of you the symbolic hand clasp and friendship and brotherhood.
cultural leader. Welcome to membership.
Your contribution as a youthful citizen in our democracy serves as an example for other members to follow. As treasurer, I welcome you to our organization.
The FFA needs counsel and guidance from recognized leaders. I am pleased to add your names to our roll of honorary FFA members.
As Vice President, I welcome you to the FFA. I will inform you that our members learn to appreciate the dignity of labor. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much.
On behalf of every member, I wish to say we're proud to have you as honorary members. May this affiliation prove valuable to all. I press upon you that we look to you for counsel and guidance. It is because of great respect for you that we confer upon you honorary membership. May we always cooperate for the benefit of all. I now confer upon you honorary membership in the Casey County FFA and present you this token of membership.
Before I give out the scholarships, I'd like to do a couple of things. Amanda Price talked about the Gold Emblem chapter. This is something we work hard for every year. Last year we were a silver. Year before last we were a gold. And this year we got a gold again. And it only shows the hard work that all these FFA members put forward throughout the year on their program of activities. And it was only one of 48 chapters across the state. Another thing I'd like to do before I give out the scholarship is recognize this group of seniors. And what Dave said about maybe me being a little green like they were 4 years ago, there's a lot of truth to that. And I hope I've grown as a teacher and an FFA advisor for 4 years. And I know they have grown as young men and of FFA members. It'll be odd not to walk downstairs and see these guys in my classroom next year. Well, as I call your name, I'd like for you to stand up. Kevin Pittman, Stephen Kidd, Eric Hamilton, Billy Johnson, Brian McGaw, David Wesley. Dave will be getting his state FFA degree at Frankfurt, so will Kevin at the state convention in June. Jamie Burton, Barry King, and Cheston Wilson. They're all 4-year FFA members, and I'd like you to give them a round of applause. Since 1987-88, Mr. Murphy and Mr. Price started a scholarship program for BOAG students. This year there are 3 recipients. One will be, let me tell who it is first. These scholarships are sponsored by the Casey County Pork Producers with Ronnie Summers, President, Casey County Beef Producers with Robbie McQueen, President, Southern States, Denny Johnson, Manager, Farm Bureau, Jerry Hoskins, the Farm Credit Service, Mr. Harvey Luttrell, and Casey County FFA. First scholarship goes to Billy Johnson. He'll be attending Somerset Community College in the fall. These are all $500 scholarships. Next one goes to David Wesley. He'll be attending Eastern Kentucky University. I've got another one here for Cheston. Cheston received a couple of scholarships through Western to go to school next year. Last week, I received a letter from the National FFA organization. Cheston filled out a form that the National FFA organization sent me, and I'm going to read what it says. It says, "Congratulations, Cheston Wilson from your high school has been awarded a $1,000 National FFA scholarship sponsored by Hydro Agra North America through the National FFA Foundation. We are pleased to announce that 850 scholarship recipients have been selected from 7,300 applicants. So Cheston's one of these 850 out of 7,300 who will receive over $1.2 million from 200 sponsors. So I think this is a big award for Cheston. It's the first one we've received through the National FFA organization. The last scholarship goes to Kevin Pittman. He'll be attending National School of Auctioneering in August. We talked Kevin into giving us just a little demonstration of just what he can do. Cheston's going to hold his shirt up and we're going to see if he can get anybody to buy it.
So here's got FFA, America's Best, and on the back it's got an emblem. And when I first came to school, I couldn't even auctioneer with the help of Mr. Price and Mr. Ware here. Here's what I can do. Give me down 10, go down 10, go down 10, go down 5, go down 5, go down 5, go down 5. Give me down 5, I got a 5, go down 6, go down 6, go down 6, got 6, go down 7, go down 7, go down 7. Got a 6, go down 7, I got 7, now go down 8, go down 8, go down 8, go down 8, go down 8. I got a 7, go down a quarter, go down a quarter, go down half, 7 a quarter, go down half. 7 a quarter, go down half, got a half, now 75, 7 a quarter. 775, 775, give me $10 bid, got 10, go down a quarter, got 10, go down a quarter, got a quarter, go down half, got a quarter, go down half, got a half, got a half, 10.75, go down 75, go down 75, go down 75, now give me $11 bid, I got 10.75, go down 11, give me 11, give me 11, give me 11, got $11 bid, now give me down a quarter, give me down a quarter, give me down a quarter, got a quarter, give me down half, I got a quarter, give me down half, give me down half, give me half, give me half, give me half. Going once, going twice, sold.
Kevin did an outstanding job. Let's give him another hand. Mr. Secretary, what is the next item of business? The installation of next year's officers. Will Josh Wesley please come to the podium? Josh, as President-elect, you have been selected by your fellow members to be a leader of our chapter for the coming year. You're therefore responsible for guiding our chapter in all its worthy undertakings. May you work intelligently and seriously to fulfill the responsibilities of your office.
Natasha Dunham, please come forward. Natasha, as Vice President-elect, your record of accomplishments indicates you have those qualities of leadership which we should all possess. You are to assist the President in directing the work of our chapter, preside over the meetings in his absence, and keep all committees working effectively.
Would Amanda Price please come to the podium? As Secretary-elect, you have been chosen to keep accurate minutes of our meetings and to carry on the chapter correspondence. You should provide the chapter with the order of business and the committee assignments from each meeting. You will also keep a list of all members, a record of degrees awarded, and the custody of the Constitution and bylaws. Will Jenny Wilson now come forward? Jenny, as Treasurer-elect, you have been placed in a position of trust. Your duties require you to keep an accurate record of receipts and disbursements, and to provide a regular financial reports. It is also your responsibility to assist in developing the chapter's budget.
and maintaining sound financial practices.
Brian Carter, come up, please. As you reported late, it is your duty to inform the public about the FFA. You are expected to work closely with the news media, including the state and national FFA publication. You should keep a record of photographs and articles published concerning the FFA and its members, and be responsible for compiling with their FFA history.
Timothy Spears, please come to the front. Timmy, as Sentinel Lake, your duties include welcoming our friends, caring for the meeting rooms and FFA equipment, and providing for the comfort of our members and guests. It is also your duty to assist in conducting meetings and ceremonies.
It is an honor to be an officer in the FFA. From time to time during the year, you may encounter difficult problems, but through cooperation, hard work, and dedication, you will succeed and the FFA will prosper. Do each of you accept the responsibilities of your office, and will you do your best to uphold the ideals and principles of the FFA? If so, answer we do. I now declare each of you properly and duly installed in the respective office to which you were elected. May your year of service be marked by integrity, dedication, and a cooperative spirit. Seek harmony among your fellow officers and set high standards of leadership for all chapter members. Retiring officers, will you please escort the newly installed officers to their stations?
Madam Secretary, do you have any other business which now should be transacted?
Presentation of the retiring officer flags.
First of all, I'd like to thank Chesson, the other officers that served me this year, and I'd like to thank y'all for supporting me and helping me become a better officer this past year. I believe our new elected officer team has the potential to be outstanding, and I'm looking forward to working with them. I feel that it's an honor to be elected as president of the largest club here at Casey County High School as FFA. At this time, I'd like my mother and Chesson's mother to come forward to receive the flowers at the head table. We're about to adjourn this meeting of the Casey County FFA chapter. As we met with others, let's be diligent in labor, just in dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in a game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag. This meeting adjourned.
If you would, we also need some help at the FA members cleaning 20 tables, folding them up, and we need to roll them to the gym for prom tomorrow night. Please stay and help us.
It's